Well, as the WrestleMania week has come to a close, that doesn't mean we have to end things right here. I mean, I enjoyed WrestleMania week not only because WrestleMania is on, because we have other cool wrestling shows that take place during that time. But however, apparently I have to make up for certain things that did not happen in the previous episode. As you know, I mentioned before, I was unable to do a review with AEW Collision and New Japan Pro Wrestling's Sakura Genesis. So those two will be actually added for this particular episode. For New Japan Pro Wrestling's Sakura Genesis, this one features, of course, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, the Heavyweight Tag Team titles, the Never Heavyweight title, and the IWGP World Heavyweight title defended. Oh yeah, and the Junior Heavyweight title as well. So plenty of things could happen until then. But we'll see what happens. Will we see title changes? I don't know. And then, of course, we move on with AEW Collision with some interesting matches. As you know, we have a very interesting thing. We do have the semifinals of the tag team tournament with FTR and Top Flight. Pac makes his return in the ring to send a statement. A Lion Hook takes the reins by taking on what's their name? Oh yeah, the Shane Taylor Promotions and various other cool things. And then we move on, of course, with night 2 of WrestleMania. But the obvious question we'll have to ask ourselves, because I know there's a lot of questions in the main event: will Cody Rhodes finally finish the story? Well, we just got to find out and wait and see. And also, to add this bonus right here for all of you, there will be no news updates for all of you. So it's all straight up reviews. So let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do, of course, real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed or speak about. And of course, we do the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside. And of course, as I said before, there'll be no news updates, of course, on this episode, so it's news updates free. But if there's something new, I'll try to put it out as soon as possible. But for right now, let's just begin with our very first review, and that is New Japan Pro Wrestling's Sakura Genesis. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling Sakura Genesis. Let's begin with the pre-show Frontier Zone match. Now, if you guys are unfamiliarized, what the hell is a pre-show Frontier Zone match? Well, let me explain that. Basically, what they do is that they get talent from outside of New Japan. Doesn't matter from what promotion. It's either in All Japan, Noah. But for to this, we have the guy who representing New Japan. We have the young lion Bolton Oleg. He teams up with the guys from Chaos, Toru Yano, and Tomohiro Ishii. They take on the guys from 2AW, Active Advanced Pro Wrestling, which was one time known as Kaientai Dojo. We have Chitanto Shoki, Takuro Niki, who is the current openweight champion, and of course, Ayato Yoshida. So turns out that this guy, Yoshida, has been made appearances in the past in New Japan. So you would think that, okay, this match has to win by the homegrowns of New Japan. Well, it kind of did, because it was, in fact, Bolton Oleg who picked up the win when he pinned Shoki, and just like that, it was over. But of course, Bolton Oleg continues to impress us, of course, with those gut wrenches that he's been doing. Well, awesome move, but it was him who picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We have Ryusuke Taguchi teaming up with El Desperado to take on TMDK's Kosa Fujita and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, it's no secret that Zack Sabre Jr. and, of course, Despy were one-time members of Suzuki-gun, and they're on the opposite side of together. Now, we have seen Zack has found success after Suzuki-gun. Despy has well. But it was interesting that those two will come across each other again. But however, it was, of course, Fujita, who's always been impressive since graduating as a young lion. He hasn't continued to impress us. He was able to pick up the win with the O'Connor bridge onto Taguchi, and just like that, it was over. So, pretty awesome win. Our next match, we have LIJ's junior heavyweight division guys, Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi. They take on Bullet Club War Dogs, consistent of Geto and David Finlay. I don't know what was the purpose of this match, to be honest with you. I mean, David Finlay, I know he just recently came back after unable to compete at the New Japan Cup, but it did happen. But unfortunately, it was, of course, Bushi that applied a figure four leg lock, while using his arms on this, not his legs, to put away Geto, and just like that, Geto had no other choice but to tap. Our next match, we have the guys from Just Five Guys, consisting of Doiki, Yuya Uemura, Sanada, taking on the United Empire's Kyle Newman, Jeff Cobb, and the Great Okan. So it was a very interesting matchup how this was going to roll up. I wasn't too sure how this was going to be, but I think the biggest surprise, in my opinion, was towards the end by Yuya Uemura when he applied a crucifix onto Great Okan. And you probably guess knows what that means. That means Great Okan has to face Yuya Uemura, because by right, he pinned him. He should get a shot of the KOPW title. And I'm sure he's not happy. I'm sure he's crying like a little girl, being pissy and all, questioning how could this happen. But, hey, a win's a win. Someone deserves to have a shot. Now, this is one of few tag team matches that are been set, 4 tag matches that 4 title matches, my bad. So we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles defended in a 3-way match. We have the Jet Setters, Kevin Newman and Kushida, versus Catch 22's Francisco Akira and TJP versus BC War Dog, the Bullet Club War Dogs, actually. Now, of course, it was going to be fantastic moments in this match, but the obvious question is, who was going to walk out? Now, if you guys remember, we do know that that Catch 22 has defeated the War Dogs before, but however, this is a different scenario. You would probably think that there was going to be a moment where maybe the Jet Setters could play the real difference maker, but however, that wasn't the case, because, of course, the Bullet Club War Dogs would try to ensure that these titles do not leave their possession one way or the other, because it was Kushida who ended up on the wrong side of the full clip. And then, of course, Clark O'Connor's pin him. Just like that, 1, 2, 3, they actually retained the belts. Now, our next match is the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. We have of course, former champions and two-time World Tag League winners Bishiman, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto. They take on Bullet Club's Kenta and Chase Owens. Of course, this was going to happen sooner or later because Bullet Club were threatened by the fact that there was a possibility they would face these guys. Yes, it did, and unfortunately, it did not go according to plan because it was Chase Owens who ended up on the wrong side of Shoto, and just like that, it was done. Goto picked up the win by pinning him. 1, 2, 3. They are our brand new tag team champions. Now, our next match, we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Yo, who's been looking for a chance to get a title match. Sho, who's a real piece of work, who decided, I'm not going to defend it because for the sake of my record. No, he does not want to face anybody. He does not want to lose the belt. However, things did not go according to plan for Yo because he might have dislocated his shoulder. And of course, by default, Sho won, but he thinks that he won because he's the best. BS, that did not happen. However, when Sho thought he had everything in his place, Kosei Fujita showed up, declared himself as the next challenger. However, someone begged to differ, and that is Doiki. And Doiki did plead a good case, and many of you know this all too well. It was Doiki who beat the top junior heavyweight competitor in New Japan. We're talking about Hiromu. So by default, he does get an opportunity. But Sho does not believe that these two deserved it because they are not tough enough. Well, Fujita put his point across when he did a missile dropkick on him, and then, of course, Doiki told him it's either him or Fujita. And just like what Yo did, he took the belt. And, of course, you probably can guess, Sho is crying like a little girl again with the loss of his belt. I'm sure he thinks that no one is going to beat him, but he should know. You got challengers coming left and right. You can't pretend that, oh, because you beat Yo, it means you're unstoppable. BS! That does not work. So, sooner or later, he may have to lose the belt. But many people are hoping Doiki should get that opportunity. But we do know we have the best of the Super Juniors coming up soon, so we'll get to that. I'll probably explain at some point who will be my picks, but we'll see. Now, our next match is a very special match. We have Shota Umino teaming with his mentor, Jon Moxley, to take on the House of Torture, Ren Narita, and Jack Perry. Now, of course, this was going to be a very interesting match because, of course, Ren Narita thinks he's all tough, but when it comes to Moxley, he's even more tougher than him. So that would have been a much easier thing. But however, Narita tried to push a bar on him, but Umino took a bullet for Moxley, just like that. But however, Narita actually ended up in the wrong side of the Death Rider, and just like that, he won. So, what does Jack Perry think of it? Well, he should be concerned. But however, Moxley said that the House of Torture, they're just a bunch of cowards using weapons in order to win. He thinks that those things will work on them. It does not. I mean, the BCC are the toughest SOBs. I mean, Evil would take on Moxley, but Moxley will not give up no matter what he does, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have the Never Openweight title. Shingo Takagi declared his shot for this belt against Evil, someone he is familiarized, and a former member of LIJ. Now, as always, Evil claims that he's the good guy in the story. BS, he's the bad guy. He will not lose the Never Openweight title. Not to mention when, of course, the ref was out. Kanemaru with the ref shirt thought he probably would think this was going to be legal. Apparently, Kanemaru does not have a license. It did not work, but luckily Hiromu did show up with the ref shirt. It did perfectly well. And then, of course, Dick Togo showed up. Lucky Bushi took him out. Then Yujiro did, but apparently he got powdered by Evil by accident. So it did give, of course, Shingo to apply the Made in Japan, and just like the Last of the Dragon, and that was pretty much it. He became the 44th champion, I believe. No, the 40th champion of the Never Openweight title. However, while he was doing his him, along with Hiromu and Bushi, were viciously attacked by the Political War Dogs. Gabe Kidd, being a crybaby, decides to go out and saying that he thinks that New Japan has gone off the reservation. That Kidd is saying that, Tanahashi was in Tony Khan's office, pulling his pants down, all this other stuff, that he sold out. He feels that New Japan has lost its respect, and he thinks that, that's what it is. And he claims that he will take the Never Openweight title and the New Japan Pro Wrestling. He said he will kill Tanahashi, Tsuji, Naito, and of course anybody that stands in their way. So he really was disrespectful, but Shingo's not gonna back down from him. But we do know Gabe Kidd this Friday will face off against Eddie Kingston for the New Japan Strong title. So we'll see what happens until then. I just hope he does not win, because he's nothing but a big ass crybaby. Now our next match is the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Yota Tsuji, who won the New Japan Cup, declared his shot against Naito. Now the obvious question is, we know Naito, he knows him pretty well. He has changed a lot. And of course, he's not going out telling the world that I'm the future. He's saying I am the present now. That's what he has been saying, and he's not wrong. He has been very impressive. But the real question is, can Naito survive with a breed like Yota Tsuji? Well, he could barely do that. But it took multiple times for Naito to apply Destino. But when the right timing happened, it did. And Destino was the real deal. And just like that, Naito retained the belt. But as soon as the post-match promo by Naito was about to begin, he was surprise visit by Moxley. And Moxley told him that he'll be seeing him on April 12th for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. However, Naito did his promo, then the roll call and all that. But in the back during the post-match comments, we did see Yota Tsuji give his thoughts about this match. Then he was interrupted by David Finlay, calling him a failure, saying that he squandered his opportunity. He thinks that if he was still there at the New Japan Cup, it would have been him to win it. But he thinks that Yota Tsuji was a failure. No, he wasn't a failure. He is the now and forever, the present. But of course, the members of LIJ did show up to give him a helping hand. But we'll see what these scumbags would think. I mean, of course, I like to say the Bullet Club War Dogs are nothing more than big-ass crybabies. That's what I think. But we'll see what happens until then. But for right now, we're done with New Japan. Let's move on with AEW Collision. Okay, AEW Collision. It opened up with, of course, the AEW World Tag Team title semifinal tournament. Now, we do know that the Bucks are in the finals, but who will walk out to be part of that to face them on? Will it be, of course, FTR, been considered one of the best tag teams in the world, or Top Flight, the young and up-and-coming tag team that's been very impressive? I have to say it was a very tough thing for me to decide. But however, we saw the impressiveness with FTR as always. So they applied the Shatter Machine on Dante, and just like that, they picked up the win, and they're now in the finals to face the Young Bucks. Now, our next match, we have the Bastard Pac taking on Encore More. Now, this was not just any match. This was a message and a statement by Pac to Kazuchika Okada. And of course, he could have defeated him with the Broken Arrow, but it did not happen. He decided to apply the Brutalizer. And then just like that, it was completely over with submission. However, Pac put out a promo calling out Okada, telling him he wants a shot of the Continental title. So he'll be waiting for his answer. However, the obvious question now tells us, will Okada accept the challenge? Well, knowing Okada, he probably will accept it. But we'll see what the Rainmaker will say when he makes that decision. Now, Rene Paquette conducted 2 separate interviews with Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay. Now, as you know, at Dynasty, these two will be facing off each other. So Bryan Danielson kind of reasons why did he make this match happen. He said that he wants to find the best version of himself. Now, he's not trying to prove that he's the best, but find a much better version of himself. That's exactly what happened. And of course, Will Ospreay, as you know, he has faced the best of the best. It's always been like that. So we will see what happens in Dynasty between these two. Now, our next match, we have Lion Hook, Chris Jericho and Hook taking on Shane Taylor Promotions, consistent of Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor. Now, if you guys remember on Rampage, I believe, they set up this match, and they did, and they accepted. So, Shane Taylor Promotions accepted the challenge, and you would have think this is going to be a very tough match. But the one thing that was surprising, Hook actually applied a T-bone suplex. I'm like, oh my god, he applied it on Shane Taylor. The dude is huge, but he pulled it off. But it was, of course, Jericho with the Lion Tamer onto Lee Moriarty, and of course, you have no choice but to tap, and it was over from there. Now, during the post-match, while celebrating, they were viciously blind attacked by the return of Anthony Ogogo. We haven't seen that dude since the factory days, and he just showed up, and then they attacked Jericho, knocking him out. So it appears now Anthony Ogogo is now a member of the Shane Taylor Promotions. So that's very interesting. But, however, we did see an interview with Lion Hook, talked about what just transpired. There was going to be a third member. Hook found a third person, and he picked Katsuyori Shibata. And, of course, Jericho is okay with the idea, but at the same time, he's a bit confused about, with Shibata using the phone as his, doing his thingy. But I thought it was really interesting. Now, Dustin Rhodes, as you know, he's a veteran of the game. He has been in the business for far too long. He decides to call out Samoa Joe for a shot of the AEW World title. Samoa Joe did respond it, so he decided, I'm not going to give you a title, but however, I'm going to give you Eliminator match. So basically, he will get that, and I think that will happen next week in I think in North Shore. Hold on, let me pull up on my notes. Yep, it'll happen next week, I believe. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Now, our next match, we have the House of Black taking on Matt Sydal, Brian Keith, and Christian Cage. Christopher Daniels. I thought this match was pretty interesting. I was like, not sure what to make of it. But of course, I figured this match was going to go to the House of Black because it was Buddy Matthews that picked up the pinfall onto Brian Keith. But however, during the post-match, Adam Copeland showed up, and here comes Mark Briscoe and FTR, and then of course the Young Bucks showed up. So it became all hell broke loose. We know FTR will face the Young Bucks in the finals for the tag team titles, so we'll see where that leads us. Now, Rocky Romero was in an interview with Lex Luger and talked about a possible eliminator match for the international title, and of course, Roderick Strong with his usual antics, and of course, try to rub in everything about beating Orange Cassidy, that whole thing. So we'll see where that leads. Now, we do see Trish Adora taking on the return Yuka Sakazaki. It's been a while. If you guys remember, I did see her at the Grand Princess show not too long ago, and it was fantastic to see her. But now she's in AEW. You probably would think this was going to be a tough challenge for Yuka, but she has faced worse situations in her past. But she did apply the merry-go-round, and then of course the magical splash, allowing herself to pick up the win. However, during the post-match, Serena Deeb showed up, and I don't know what's the deal with that, but we will see what happens. We did see a little video package with Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia. As you know, right now Garcia is picking up good wins, so they're going to build up the momentum. It's only a matter of time until he calls a shot for a title shot. It could be, of course, the international title, the continental title, or of course the TNT title. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, our next match, we have Claudio Castagnoli taking on The Butcher. Well, you probably guessed this is going to be one of those house fights match because these two individuals are big. But, however, it was Claudio with, of course, the giant swing, and then of course somewhat of a gotch style power drop, but only it's set up to a face plant, and just like that, it was completely over. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, Julia Hart, along with Sky Blue, set up a message to certain particular ladies in the women's division. Layla Hirsch, who called her shot, Willa Nange, who she'll face at Dynasty, and Mercedes Moné. So basically, she is seeing all these women right in front of them. But we will see what happens. Now, our main event, this is something I think many of you will probably like. We have Lucha Libre style. Penta El Cero Miedo taking on Commander. So this was going to be one amazing match. I mean, Penta, he's not known to be a high flyer. He's very much of a brutal wrestler. I mean, his brother Ray is much of a high flyer. But how this is going to play out? Well, it was, of course, Penta with the fear factor onto Commander. And just like that, it was over, picking up the win. But right out in top of the ramp, we did see Adam Copeland. As you know, Penta will challenge him for the TNT title. So we'll see what happens until then. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just end things right now with AEW Collision and move on with WrestleMania WrestleMania 40 Night 2. Okay, our last review, WrestleMania 40 Night 2. It opened up with, of course, performance, I don't know the artist, but we saw Stephanie McMahon making her way down to the ring, gave a nice warming speech, and of course did the catchphrase from DX, "Are you ready?" And of course reminded everybody that this is the Paul Levinsky era, which is Triple H's real name. So I'm very happy to see how things are going to roll up. Now, our first match is for the WWE World Heavyweight title. Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. So we are asking ourselves, how is Seth Rollins now? Was he 100% now after what happened the night before? Well, the obvious question was, no, he probably wasn't. But apparently he did not walk out as the winner of this match. It was Drew McIntyre with the Claymore. And just like that, he becomes our brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. However, throughout the entirety of the match, CM Punk, who's been in ringside commentating the whole thing, apparently Drew McIntyre, as you all know, I don't watch WWE that much anymore, except for NXT and NXT Level Up. Well, apparently he actually turned his attention to CM Punk, and then Punk dealt with him, and then of course he removed the arm brace and took him out. But unexpectedly, Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and just like that, with the South of Heaven chokeslam, he becomes our new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. It would make sense why he wouldn't do it now, because he tried that with Seth, it didn't work. So basically, Drew McIntyre has no one but himself to blame after distracting himself towards CM Punk. So, and now we can hear Judgment Day laughing, saying they finally got the title they wanted, and we'll see where it leads us from there. Now, before our next match, we did see Snoop Dogg and a special guest referee, Bubba Ray Dudley, who will be refereeing the match for a Philadelphia street fight between Final Testament, between AOP and Karrion Kross versus the Pride, consistent of Angelo Parker and was Dawson Parker. I mean, Angelo Parker and what's his name? And Dawson himself, along with Bobby Lashley. But of course, it was going to be some outside interference, because we did see Paul Ellering and Scarlett, but luckily B-Fab was there to help, took out Scarlett in every way possible. But Karrion Kross made one big mistake. He actually pissed off Bubba Ray, and he put on his infamous glasses, and then, of course, they did, what's up? Yeah, I thought, classic ECW stuff. And then it happened. First, Bubba actually slapped on the chest Bobby Lashley, then Parker, then Dawson, and then they go, get the tables, bringing back the ECW stuff. I thought it was great, but in fact, it was, of course, Dawson who picked up the win. Parker, who actually, Angelo Parker, who actually put up the frog splash onto Karrion Kross in through a table, but Lashley was the one who picked up the pinfall, and just like that, it was over. Now, Kayla Braxton actually interviewed Paul Heyman, congratulating him on his Hall of Fame. However, she wanted to know what is the Bloodlines rules. However, Heyman's like, don't play stupid, you know what it is. So basically, Paul Heyman is 100% confident that this will be the end of the line for Cody and his story. But the real question is, can Cody survive it? Well, we'll see what happens when we get there. Our next match, these two guys have been at war with each other for a long time. LA Knight and AJ Styles. This was going to be a very interesting matchup. You would think that maybe AJ would have picked up the win. Nope. It was LA Knight with the blunt force trauma, or BFT. And just like that, it was over. Now, our next title match is the WWE United States Championship in a three-way match. Paul Logan versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. So this was going to be a very unique match. However, of course, Logan Paul does not need to be pinned in this match. However, this match could have won by Randy if it wasn't for that idiot Speed who gets involved. He got RKO'd. But in fact, however, Randy did have Kevin Owens right where he wanted him, but Logan Paul actually moved him out of the way. Then he did a frog splash onto Kevin Owens, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, our next match, we have the WWE Women's title, Bayley versus Io Sky. This was going to be an interesting matchup. Of course, we've seen Bayley has held this belt before, but this is more like now Bayley is willing to shut down Damage Control after they betrayed her from behind and all of that. So you would think that Io Sky would have had the much better advantage, but nope. It was Bayley with the Rose Plant that allowed her to pick up the win. So I was very much happy with the idea how that rolls out. But Bayley is now the new WWE Women's Champion, and we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, our main event is for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. We have in a Bloodlines rules, Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Now, at the first part of the match, things seemed to be normal. But however, Cody did had Roman Reigns right where he wanted him with the crossroads. But Jimmy Uso showed up and got in the way. And then, of course, Jey Uso gets involved too by helping Cody. However, Jamie tried to deal with him, but later Jey took care of him by spearing him off the ramp and then landing on the table. And just like that, it was over. Now, seems things would have gone either way great, but however, Cody speared Roman Reigns through a barricade. I thought that was crazy. And then Cody continued with his assault onto Roman, but later Solo Sikoa showed up. Now, it took two tries for Solo Sikoa to take out Cody, allowing for Roman Reigns to pick up the win, and it was over. It did not end in that fashion. And then, of course, out of nowhere, we saw the return of You Can't See Me. That's right, John Cena showed up, who had dealt with Solo Sikoa, and I thought it was crazy. So, of course, Solo Sikoa got in the wrong side of the attitude adjustment and just through a commentary table, and just like that, it was taken out. However, The Rock showed up, who was determined to end Cody Rhodes' story, suddenly just appeared. And then, of course, took out John Cena by rock bottom. And then Seth Rollins showed up wearing the Shield's gear, using the old theme song from there. It did not work because Roman Reigns Superman punched him, and it was over. And then it happened. The lights turned off, and The Undertaker came back. I bet The Rock did not anticipate that one way or the other, but it was a great moment to see him. And then he choke slammed, of course, The Rock, and it was just like that. But it only leads to one thing. Cody needs to finish the story, and it only took 3 crossroads for him to put away Roman Reigns. So he had no help whatsoever. Rock was taken out by The Undertaker. Solo Sikoa was taken out by John Cena. Jimmy Uso was taken out by Jay. So he had no one. And just like that, Cody is now finished the damn story. And he is now our brand new WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. He finally finished the goddamn story. Whew. A journey that took this long, and it helped. And of course, we saw his wife Brandy, many people from the back, including his mom. We did see Brody Lee Jr. there as well. It's great to see the kid, and of course his sister, and I'm going to presume her kids. It's great that he has that moment, and that's how it is. So, real question is, what's next for Cody? Well, we do know, if you're fans of wrestling, you know that he may have won this title, but the question is now, who will be the next challenger to try to dethrone him? We'll just gotta wait and see in either on Raw or SmackDown when we get there. So, but for now, let's just end things like this with all reviews and call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. First things first, I apologize for not doing AEW Collision and New Japan's Sakura Genesis. Well, due to the timing was impeccable. I couldn't do it in time, but I was able to do it for this particular episode. Now, I haven't seen the other shows that we had for WrestleMania week, such as Bloodsport, Spring Break, all the stuff from the Collective, and all this other stuff. I mean, I was able to do the Stardom American Dream show, which was a definite plus, but I was able to get that done. So we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, there's the 2 Choco Pro shows I haven't seen just yet, but we'll see about that when we get there. But at the moment, we'll just end things right now where we're at, and we will continue to move forward. But until then, we'll end things just like this, and I'll say this for all of you. I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.